This commentary is going to be short and sweet because I think I've reached a dead end on the production stories. I don't recall having recorded much more for this review than made it in, but I could be wrong. I have to say that to this day, everything that is discussed in the ending of this film is still just some of the worst story elements of anything I have ever seen. It doesn't quite match two characters deciding they're friends because their mothers have the same first name, but the entire ending and just the way Lucas tried to make this all over the place, doesn't add up finale pay off. I didn't think it worked then, and many years later, I still don't. But this concluded the prequel reviews for me, and years later, as I say, I'm still pretty happy with this. But you'll notice in the end, I allude to the possibility of reviewing the Clone Wars that at the time hadn't even been released yet, I don't think. I wasn't serious about intending to review that one. That was just a joke to the fact that, oh god, they're going to be making another one of these, sort of. If I remember correctly, I actually did a review of that eventually, but a lot of the Confused Matthew stuff has been lost over the years, including that one, I'm afraid. I don't really remember the movie that well, and I don't really have any interest in watching or reviewing it again, so if we can, let's all just take that as a joke. Just a little interesting side note, these reviews at one point got the attention of Frankie Frayne, whom you may know as the creator of The Lord of the Rings by George Lucas. I've met a lot of really creative people in my time doing Confused Matthew, from filmmakers to artists, voice actors, and musicians, some of whom even do work on the show today, but I think Frankie was the first actual filmmaker I ever met through doing this. Having someone who made something as great as the George Lucas video, as well as the fantastic films that he's made over the years, see my work and enjoy it, was really quite awesome, and we're still friends to this day. He might even contribute a little something to my future Star Wars reviews. Who knows? Wink wink, elude elude. Okay, one last production thing. As I said before, some of the stuff in these reviews were born out of conversations among friends. Well, the joke at the end here where Obi-Wan says, "Bye, I love you," that was my brother's joke. I want that on the record because I think that was the best joke of the whole thing, and that was his. So here it is, the grand finale. Again, even if you don't agree, I hope you like. Enjoy.
You know his words will get you farther than the film will ever go. Give him a moment of your time, he'll tell you what's wrong with the show. He knows what's good, what's bad, what's really bad. His face is just a sign. Say hello to Confused Matthew.
I was done. Just done with these prequel films. I had been disappointed beyond recognition 2 times, and I was just sick of it. I was sick of the wooden acting, I was sick of the undeveloped characters, I was sick of the lack of story, I was sick of the unexplained motivations, organizations, actions, and inactions, I was sick of the bad and gratuitous special effects being dumped on screen. I was just sick of it. So when this film came out, I had no intention of seeing it. And then the reviews came in, and I heard things like, "Oh, Lucas's last 2 films were awful, but this one is really good. Oh, Lucas dropped the ball in the last 2 films, but this one more than makes up for them." So I thought, oh, well, if the critics are on board, then maybe this really is the movie I've been waiting for. Maybe Lucas finally saw what piles of shit the last 2 films were and decided to write a good one this time. So on the advice of the critics, I went to see it. And I went into it with a lot of optimism. And once again, my hopes for seeing a good film were quickly crushed, and this time, my faith in the critics was reduced to absolute 0. This was just as bad as the last 2 films. In a lot of ways, it was worse. If Episode 3 is what's passing for a good film these days, is it any wonder that filmmakers aren't even trying anymore? So this film opens to the following information. There is war, and the Republic is crumbling under attacks led by the ruthless Sith Lord Count Dracula. In a stunning move, the droid army leader General Grievous swept into the Republic capital and kidnapped the Chancellor. So as he and the droid army are attempting to flee with him, 2 Jedi are leading a desperate mission to rescue him. Oh my god. I actually don't have any questions about this. I mean, sure, I still don't know what a Sith is, I still don't know what the war is about, and virtually everything in the opening synopsis will be irrelevant after the first 20 minutes, But as far as that first 20 minutes goes, things have actually been adequately explained for once. The Chancellor has been kidnapped. Well, I know who he is. The 2 Jedi are going to rescue him. Okay, I know who they are, why they're rescuing him, and what the consequences will be if they fail. Putting aside for the moment the fact that the first 20 minutes are, for the most part, a waste of time, this is the first time the beginning of one of these films has been fully explained. And then we get to the opening scene. It's basically just a bunch of bad CGI that's dumped on the screen as usual, and not only is it impossible to tell who's who in the big battle, but even if we could, it wouldn't really matter because we still don't know what this war is over. But ultimately, this scene is almost completely indiscernible. Man, looks like that ship got pretty messed up. Was that one of theirs or one of ours? And who are they? And who are we? Sure wish I knew what they were fighting about. Anyway, so Anakin and Obi-Wan get aboard the ship, and after a few action sequences, they reach the Chancellor. They're just about to rescue him when Count Dracula shows up. The Chancellor says, "Get help, you're no match for him, he's a Sith Lord." Dude, where are they gonna get help? And what is a Sith Lord? Exactly how is a Sith Lord better than 2 Jedi? Please explain. So they both get into another fight with this guy. Obi-Wan gets knocked into a thing, and Anakin subdues him. The Chancellor then instructs Anakin to kill him, and Anakin responds, "No, I shouldn't, then again, why not?" And then he cuts his head off. Anakin says a few words about how he shouldn't have done that, which sounds like someone talking about eating someone else's last snack food rather than murdering an unarmed prisoner. And the Chancellor responds, "Oh, it's okay, Anakin. He cut off your arm and you wanted revenge. It's not the first time you've done something like this." No kidding, it's not the first time. So Anakin and Obi-Wan try to get away with the Chancellor, but they get captured and taken to the bridge. General Emphysema here talks their ears off for a while before the Jedi free themselves and tear shit up on the bridge. So Grievous escapes, launches all the escape pods, and leaves the ship to crash into the planet. The 2 Jedi take the controls, manage to land it fine, and they rescue the Chancellor. It was a pretty meaningless first 20 minutes, but I do have to say, it was as fluent as I've seen these prequel films be so far. So then they all report to the Jedi, and the Chancellor tells them that Dracula is dead. He has joined Darth Timefiller in the never-developed character graveyard. So now that he's gone, General Wheezy is the leader of the Separatists, and if they kill him, they will end the war. So the Jedi make finding him their top priority. Okay, kill Grievous, end the war. I'm not saying this movie is good, but they're at least explaining themselves this time. So Anakin finds and embraces Uba Duba, and these two share dialogue that actually makes me wish Lucas would just dump more gratuitous CGI on the screen. She tells him that something wonderful has happened. She's pregnant. And Anakin replies, "Oh, that's wonderful. I am so happy." Meanwhile, Grievous gets contacted by the Emperor, who tells him to move all the Separatist leaders to the planet Mustafar, and that the war will soon come to an end. Grievous asks, "But what about the loss of Count Dracula?" And the Emperor replies that his death was a necessary loss, for soon he will have a new apprentice, someone younger and more powerful. Then we get into more vomit-inducing dialogue between Anakin and Uba Duba. As a matter of fact, this dialogue sounds exactly the way vomiting feels. It's as if Lucas expects us to believe that these two are in love just because they say they are over and over again. And even when they say that, it's not only unconvincing, but the dialogue doesn't even make very much coherent conversational sense. "You're so beautiful. It's because I'm so in love. No, it's because I'm so in love with you. Then love has blinded you?" What? What does that even mean? And what did this shithead ever do to make you fall in love with him? All he ever did was bitch everyone out, including Uba Duba, make blatantly traitorous remarks, and, I want to stress this again, he committed mass murder, and Uba Duba knows it. So which one of those things stole her heart exactly? Here again is the ultimate flaw in the conception of these screenplays. For some asinine reason, Lucas said, "Hey, you know that story I had in the original films about how Anakin was a hell of a guy who gradually fell to seduction by the dark side? Well, screw that, let's just say he was never good, that he was just evil right from the start. Oh, but we also need Ooba Dooba to fall in love with him, don't we? Oh well, just dump both those things into the screenplay. I'm sure no questions will ever be asked. Sorry, George. We're not stupid. Anakin being an evil asshole and Ooba Dooba falling in love with that evil asshole are incompatible. And you can have these two say, "I'm so in love," as many wooden times as you want. No one's buying it. So after these two vomit dialogue on one another for a while, we then cut to a scene of Anakin dreaming about Ooba Dooba's death. Turns out we actually have something in common, because I dreamed about the same thing after seeing the first two films. So he wakes up, and she asks what's wrong. He tells her about the dream, and how it was exactly like when he dreamed about his mom dying, and he's afraid it might be prophetic. So after being informed of her impending doom, Ooba Dooba then starts babbling on about something totally off topic. She says that after the baby, their lives will change. The Queen will no longer let her serve as senator, and if Anakin is discovered to be the father, he will be expelled from the Jedi Order. He was just talking about your impending doom. How did we get on this subject all of a sudden? Finally, she asks if maybe Obi-Wan could help them, and Anakin replies, "No, we don't need his stupid help." Well, it's nice to see that he and Obi-Wan's great friendship is still intact. So then Anakin goes to talk to Yoda about his premonitions. Yoda asks what they're about, and Anakin tells him they are of pain, suffering, and death. Pain, suffering, and death? Come on, Anakin, you've been around the Jedi long enough to know they don't care about any of that stuff. Unless you're dreaming about tax disputes, take your pain, suffering, and death to someone in the galaxy who gives a shit. Welcome to part 2. So Anakin is called by the Chancellor, and he tells him that he has a new job for him. He wants Anakin to be his personal representative on the Jedi Council, which means he will now be put on the Council as a Jedi Master. Anakin is naturally thrilled, but the Jedi don't like it at all, so they tell Anakin that he's on the Council, but they will not grant him the rank of Master. So Anakin does his usual stomping around and bitching at them. "This is outrageous! It's not fair! I want to be a Master now! Where? But eventually he shuts up and sits down. Later he and Obi-Wan have a talk, and Obi-Wan tells him that the Jedi have a job for him. Since in the last film they were told flat out that the Chancellor was an evil usurper, they are now a little suspicious of him. So since Anakin is close to the Chancellor, they want him to spy on him and report all of his activities, which of course causes Anakin to do more bitching and moaning. So Anakin then goes to a theater where a bunch of fake-looking CGI is being shown, and he talks to the Emperor about his concerns for Ooba Dooba's life. He and the Emperor then have a conversation that's so long, slow, and boring that it actually sounded like he was going to fall asleep in mid-sentence. Long story short, the Emperor tells Anakin he believes the Jedi are planning to take control of the Republic, and he informs him that there is a way for a Sith to prevent people from dying, but it's a very rare and old ability. So how does one become a Sith exactly? What is a Sith? How do you like that? The title of this film is Revenge of the Sith, and not only will we never learn anything about who the Sith are, but we also never learn what they want revenge for. So then Anakin and Obi-Wan get split up again. Obi-Wan is sent to track down Grievous, and Anakin is left behind. So he goes to Ooba Dooba and once again starts whining. "Something's wrong. I'm not the Jedi I should be. I want more, and I know I shouldn't. Oh, and I killed innocent women and children." Oh, no, I'm sorry. Only someone who was sincerely sorry about this stuff would have said that. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan arrives on a planet and is informed that General Grievous is here, and that he has a shitload of battle droids with him. So Obi-Wan must carefully sneak up to his position. So naturally, since he must be as covert as possible, he picks the biggest, loudest thing he can possibly find to ride up there. This thing makes noises like a dying giraffe. It's so loud the whole damn planet would be alerted to his presence, and the damn thing even starts shouting right at the enemy's base. But none of the Separatists hear this because a wizard did it. So Obi-Wan sneaks up to the base where all the Separatists are. He very quietly jumps down to their position and no one notices him. So since he has them off guard, Obi-Wan quickly runs up to Grievous, cuts his head off, and ends the war. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's what someone who wasn't retarded would have done. Obi-Wan just says hi to them, which gets their attention, and Obi-Wan gets surrounded. Why did you even bother sneaking if you were just gonna call attention to yourself when you got up there? Why didn't you just come crashing through the window? Meanwhile, the Jedi learn of the situation between Obi-Wan and Grievous, and Anakin is ordered to inform the Emperor and gauge his reactions. As soon as he leaves, Windu tells his peers, "I sense a plot to destroy the Jedi." Oh, really, you think? 'Cause, you know, you only learned that about 36 times in the last film. Man, you guys are quick. So the Jedi agree that if the Chancellor does not give up his emergency powers after Grievous is killed, he should be removed from office. Windu then says that the Jedi would have to take control in order to secure a peaceful transition. Okay, why? Why would they have to take control? The Chancellor was removed in the first film, and a new one was put in his place immediately. So Anakin delivers his report, but naturally, since he's an asshole, he doesn't gauge the Emperor's reactions at all. He just starts whining and bitching about how the Jedi are excluding him.
I know there are things about the Force they aren't telling me. I know I could be better than that stupid Obi-Wan if I learned them.
Finally, after another long conversation, Anakin learns that Pubba is a Sith Lord. Amazingly, he actually goes to Windu and reports this instead of acting like an asshole. Windu naturally seems surprised that the Chancellor is a Sith Lord, even though they were already told he was and had more than enough evidence to figure it out in the last film. And Windu replies,
"Then our greatest fears have been realized. We must move quickly if the Jedi Order is to survive."
Wow, you sound pretty concerned about that. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan and Grievous face off. Grievous says, "Haha, you fool! My kung fu is also big, for I have been trained in your Jedi arts, why not?" So he and Obi-Wan have a fight that would have been totally unnecessary if Obi-Wan had just killed him when he jumped down there. And finally, Grievous is killed. Meanwhile, Windu takes 3 Jedi with him to arrest the Chancellor, but doesn't bother actually reporting what they've discovered to the Senate first. You know, in case they all die. So the Emperor whips out a lightsaber and does some of that jumping around crap. The 3 Jedi Windu brought with him use an ancient Jedi defense technique known as standing there and letting your opponent kill you, until finally it's just Windu versus the Chancellor. They fight for a while until finally Windu subdues him and tells him once again that he is under arrest, and Anakin shows up. The Emperor starts shooting lightning at Windu, but it bounces off his lightsaber and starts hitting the Emperor in his own face. So naturally, he keeps doing it! Finally, the Emperor is subdued, and Windu says, "I am going to end this, once and for all." Wait, I thought you just said 2 times that you were just gonna arrest him. Yeah, I know. I have defeated him in battle, taken his weapon, and made it so he can't do anything but suck my balls. But now since the plot needs me to, I'm gonna flip-flop and decide to kill him. Boy, I hope no one decides to turn to the dark side right now, 'cause this would be a pretty opportune time to do it. Oh well, here I go. No! Oh damn, my hand is cut off. Cause, you know, Anakin couldn't have just blocked his lightsaber or anything. He had to cut his whole hand off. Finally, Windu dies, and the Emperor says, "Hey Anakin, you want to turn to the dark side?" And Anakin says, "Yeah, sure, okay, why not?" He tells the Emperor he will do whatever he asks as long as he helps him save Uba Duba's life. The Emperor then turns on the scary voice, which seems unnecessary, and tells him that only one other person in the world has ever discovered how to cheat death, but if they work together, they can discover it as well. So then he says that the Jedi are now enemies of the Republic and must be destroyed. He orders Anakin to go to the Jedi Temple and deal with the Jedi there, and then to go to the Mustafar system to take out the Separatist leaders. So Anakin goes to the temple and begins his usual routine of killing children, while the Emperor contacts the clone army and tells them to execute Order 66, which causes the clone army to start killing loads of Jedi that we don't know or care about. So long, Spanky Laconehead. I'll sure miss the way you used to stand around in the background. So long, Green Woman mixed Star Trek. I'll sure miss the way you used to stand around in the background. Then Anakin goes to Uba Duba and tells her that the Jedi are trying to overthrow the Republic and that he is going to the Mustafar system to deal with the Separatists. So after the big Jedi slaughter, only 2 of them manage to survive, Yoda and Obi-Wan. They meet up at the Jedi Temple and send out a code alerting all the other Jedi to stay away. Then Obi-Wan says, "Wait, Master, there's something I must know." And then he activates a security recording of Anakin killing children and pledging himself to the Sith. Yoda then says, "Twisted by the dark side, young Skywalker has become." No, there was nothing to twist. He's always been like this. "The boy you trained. Gone he is." No, he's right there, doing what he always does. So the 2 organize a plan. Yoda will try and take down the Emperor, while Obi-Wan is sent to kill Anakin. Obi-Wan then goes and talks to Uba Duba and asks for help in tracking Anakin down. He tells her about all the awful, yet routine things that Anakin has done, but Uba Duba still refuses to turn against him. So then she takes a ship and flies off to him. Meanwhile, Anakin goes to Mustafar and slaughters all the Separatist leaders. He then sees Uba Duba's ship coming in and walks out to meet her. So far, this movie has been 10 different kinds of shit. But don't worry, I'm sure the ending will be just super. Welcome to part 3. As you can see, I have left a tremendous amount of time to talking about the ending. This is because this ending is one of the most awful, contrived pieces of garbage ever to be slapped together at the last minute. It's so bad every step of the way that virtually every line requires comment. Uba Duba comes to Anakin and says, "Obi-Wan told me terrible things. That you've turned to the dark side? That you killed younglings? Oh, you mean like he did in the last film, when you didn't care and married him anyway? What the hell happened to be angry is to be human, you walking plot convenience? Anakin, all I want is your love."
Love can't save you. Only my new powers could do that.
"At what cost? You're a good person. Don't do this." And you know something? She's right. Anakin has been a good person lots of times in these films. Like, I guess maybe when he was sleeping and couldn't bitch anyone out or kill anyone.
I won't lose you the way I lost my mother. I am becoming more powerful than any stupid Jedi ever has, and I'm doing it for you. To protect you.
5 seconds later.
I am more powerful than the Chancellor. I can overthrow him, and together we can rule the galaxy and make things the way that we want.
Wait, I thought you just said you were only doing this so I could live.
Oh yeah, well, I just started doing it for all those other reasons too just now.
I can't believe what I'm hearing. Can't believe what you're hearing? You seem to swallow it just fine in the last film. The problem is people don't always agree.
Then they should be made to.
Sounds an awful lot like a dictatorship.
Well, if it works, dumb shit.
So why couldn't you not believe what you were hearing then, you walking plot convenience? Obi-Wan was right. You've changed. How? How has he changed? He's killed children. That's nothing new. He's blatantly traitorous. That's nothing new. He's stomping around and bitching at people. That's nothing new. In what way has he changed? He hasn't. He's exactly the same. The only thing that's changed is that the plot needs you to care now. Anakin, you're breaking my heart. You're going down a path I can't follow. He already went down that path! And you did follow him! Uba Duba knows exactly what this little shit is capable of. This isn't the first time he's shown signs of being a traitor, and it's not the first time he's killed children. And neither of those things seemed to bother her before, but now that the plot needs her to care, she just cares so much. So then Anakin sees Obi-Wan coming out of Uba Duba's ship, and he says,
"You're with him! You brought him here to kill me!"
So Anakin managed to delude himself into thinking that Uba Duba was worth killing children over, but when he sees Obi-Wan, he's not just gonna delude himself into thinking he just snuck aboard her ship without her knowing it because he knew she would lead him to him? And by the way, that's what happened! He did sneak aboard her ship without her knowing it, and that would have been the first thing anyone with half a brain would have assumed. There is no reason in the fucking universe why Anakin would ever assume they were working together, except the plot needs him to. And then, Anakin force chokes Uba Duba and tries to kill her. Even though the only reason he joined the Emperor, the only reason he killed all those kids, the only reason he's even here right now, was so that he could save her fucking life!
Die to live. Live or I'll kill you.
So after trying to kill his only motivation for doing this in the first place, he turns to Obi-Wan, and the jet stream of bullshit that's coming out of this scene continues.
You turned her against me.
You have done that yourself.
You will not take her from me.
What do you mean I won't take her from you? You just tried to kill her!
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, I'll take her from me, but you won't. I have brought peace, freedom, justice, snacks, and lower gas prices to my new empire.
Your new empire? Don't make me kill you. Don't make me kill you? Where the hell did that come from? How did we get from your new empire to don't make me kill you? This conversation is so random and out of place, it could have gone just like this. I have brought peace to my new empire. Your new empire? Don't make me kill you. Coat hangers. John, Jenga, Jingleheimer Schmidt. Did you ever wonder how they get the cranberries into a sauce? So finally these two have a fight. The fight takes place in and out of control rooms, on dangerous moving platforms, on the precipice of tiny footholds surrounded by molten lava, and the two of them look so bored and uninterested that they may as well be fighting anywhere for all we care, and for all they care. Finally, Obi-Wan jumps back on land and says, "It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground." And Anakin responds,
"You underestimate my power."
And then he jumps over Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan cuts off all his arms and legs. The horse shit of this ending then gets turned up beyond even my wildest imagination. "You were my brother, Anakin. I loved you." "Oh God, my arms and legs are cut off. Oh, dear sweet Lord. I loved you, Anakin. You were my brother." "Oh God, now my body is on fire! Oh dear God, it's agony! Oh, if you were gonna kill me anyway, just come over here and chop my head off and put me out of my misery!" You were my brother. I loved you." "Oh God, the flames are melting my flesh! Oh Lord, don't just leave me here to burn to death, it'll take minutes! If you love me, then come over here and chop my head off!" "Bye. I love you." First of all, what the hell kind of Jedi are these? Guardians of truth and justice, my ass. Second, there is no way in fucking hell that this is ever gonna match up with the original film. When Vader encounters Obi-Wan for the first time, he says quite calmly, "I've been waiting for you, Obi-Wan. We meet again at last. When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master." Does this sound in any way like he's talking to the man who cut off all his arms and legs and sadistically left him to burn to death? No, it sounds nothing like that. Why? Because this is fucking bullshit! So meanwhile, Yoda and the Emperor have a fight, but Yoda loses. "Into exile I must go. Requires me to, the plot does." The Emperor then goes to Mustafar and picks up Anakin. Meanwhile, Yoda and Obi-Wan go aboard a ship, and Uba Duba starts giving birth. The droid on board tells them that she doesn't have much time. She's dying, you see, for absolutely no reason. Okay, there's a reason. She's dying of a broken heart. She lost the will to live. First of all, why didn't she up and die of a broken heart the last time Anakin turned to the dark side and killed children? Second of all, but wait, Obi-Wan, if Leia is my sister, then who was our mother? Oh, she was the Queen of Naboo. But when things didn't work out between her and your father, she lost the will to live and just up and died. You know, she was having 2 kids. She didn't think it was worth living for us? I guess not, Luke. Oh, what a bitch. So she has Luke and Leia and then kicks it. Anakin gets all Vadered up, and Yoda and Obi-Wan decide that the children must be kept safe somewhere. The guy on the ship agrees to take Leia, and Obi-Wan and Yoda decide to take Luke to Tatooine. Obi-Wan says he will go with him and watch over him. And finally Yoda says, "Oh, one more thing, Obi-Wan. You remember Qui-Gon? Well, he's back from the dead, and he'll be there on Tatooine to train you. Oh, also Joyce DeWitt's there, too. Sure, let's just tack that on while we're at it." Finally, everything gets put where it needs to be for the original films, even though how it all got there was a total contrivance and it still doesn't match. This really was one of the worst endings I've seen to any film, but the only good thing about it is that Star Wars is done. That's it. It's forever over, and I will never have to sit through another one of these awful things again. Damn it.